TU2 fam? It's your girl TK, and I'm out here car vlogging as usual. Stop playing. Y'all know my life is hella busy, so I kind of make videos as I go, period. And with that being noted, today I really wanted to get online and speak to you guys about Donald Trump. Now, I'm sure you already know what time it is. He was the 45th president of the United States. Anyhow, today I want to ask you, do you know what a state of an emergency is? If you don't know, I want you guys to understand a state of an emergency is something like when COVID hit and they needed to have like Congress come in and make sure that laws, rules, and regulations that usually would not be enacted were in place so they can handle that state of an emergency. Now, when I think about a state of an emergency, I will not lie to you. I would never think about attaching Donald Trump to a state of an emergency. But today I'm here to tell you I will be doing that today. Please understand something. When it comes to Donald Trump, I think about January 6th insurrection. I think about documents. I think about an election scheme and, sending money to a porn star. These are the things that I'm thinking about. I would never think about an emergency situation. And I won't lie to you about it. But I want you guys to know something today. Donald Trump is definitely attached to a state of an emergency. Are you aware that 400,000 people have died once Donald Trump left office due to COVID? Listen here. When Donald Trump was in office, you know what he was telling the American people regarding COVID? It's just the flu. It's a sickness. It's something that you can take medicine and you can get over it. But I'm here to tell you something right now. According to what the medical professionals have said, there was no medicine that you could take to get rid of COVID. There was nothing really to cure this situation but time. In a state of an emergency. Not even Donald Trump was giving us a facts in a state of an emergency. He was telling us false information in a state of an emergency. He was causing January 6th insurrection in a state of an emergency. 400,000 people died by the time he left office in a state of an emergency. Donald Trump is egregious and abusive, and he never really cared about the American people. What he was caring about in a state of an emergency was his wallet, his pockets. How could you benefit him in a state of an emergency? Do you realize in Ohio, when there was poisonous chemicals coming out, do you know this man was still running for election in a state of an emergency? He was campaigning in Ohio in a state of an emergency. He said, I don't care about anyone but myself in a state of an emergency. Donald Trump is the person, the head executive in charge. He was the head executive in charge, and under his leadership, 400,000 people died. Umpteen million people were getting sick, and no one had answers. No one knew what to do. No one still knows what to do, and he's still doing the same behaviors in a state of an emergency. This is Donald Trump we're talking, y'all. This is the man that's potentially going to be reelected for president because he's able to campaign, and we're in a state of an emergency because of him. He was able to cause January 6th insurrection in a state of an emergency. And I don't understand. This man caused egregious acts, terrorist behaviors. He breached the U.S. Constitution. In a state of an emergency, Donald Trump kept saying over and over and over again to the American people, I do not care, in a state of an emergency. And this is the man that is continuously being re-elected or re-looked at like he's just this great American. And in all reality, he is pitiful. His behaviors are egregious, abusive, neglectful, unwarranted, adulterous, murderous. His behaviors are not illegal. It's a breach of the U.S. Constitution. Do I need to keep going on with that list in a state of an emergency? Donald Trump is the man that everyone continues to re-elect in a state of an emergency. See, y'all don't hear me. You know what? I'm just here to tell you, Donald Trump is an egregious man. And we need to really be paying attention to what he's saying, how he's acting, and how he's reacting when things really do occur in a state of an emergency. You know what? Peace, love, and happiness, y'all. Please, when I say please, pay attention to these facts. Pay attention to laws, rules, regulations, policies, and procedures, because you don't know how it can impact you or your family. Also, I want you guys to know that I do have Instagram. My Instagram handle is TK, KNOWLES01. Bye, guys.